Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. One of the things that we love doing here, whenever I come here, is I sit in the Mataaf area and I enjoy reading the books of the people of the past speaking about Makkah. They're sitting here, as we're sitting here right now, they would just write about Makkah. They would write about the Kaaba, their feelings. Like there's a difference. I'm looking at the Kaaba with my sinful eyes. Our eyes are so used to seeing so many different things. And then we come look at the Kaaba, correct? But then imagine the Sahaba looking at the Kaaba. Imagine Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu coming after all those years from Medina, coming here and seeing the Kaaba. And the Prophet seeing the Kaaba. That's why Abu Sufyan's wife, when she came the night of Fatih Makkah, and she saw the people worshipping Allah in front of the Kaaba, they saw the Kaaba and they just fell. They couldn't believe they were here again, and they were seeing a Kaaba for the first time without any idols around it. They were seeing it in its purest form, the way Ibrahim built it, alayhi salam. So what do? They just, how there's this, those parades, championship parades, celebration, and the people go crazy? Well, the Sahaba had a celebration, rally, parade, and they were just doing sajda, crying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's how they looked at the Kaaba. So one of those great saints of the past, his name was Hassan Basri, rahmatullah alayh. He found out that one of his friends was planning to leave Makkah. And I try to read this letter whenever it's the day I'm leaving Makkah. Even though it's not relevant to me directly, because we don't live here, but it still puts you in that zone, like we're leaving Makkah. And he's trying to tell the guy, he's like, why are you leaving Makkah for? Why are you moving? Don't you know Allah has given you such an honor of being the neighbor of the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So then in this letter, he highlights different virtues. So I'll just read a paragraph that I was reading to you earlier. He says, listen, that one portion where he says that وَمَا مِن مَلَكٍ يَبْعَثُهُ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى مِنَ السَّمَاءِ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ فِي حَاجَةٍ إِلَّا اغْتَسَلَ مِن تَحْتِ الْعَرْشِ وانقض محرما فيبدأ ببيت الله تعالى فيطوف به أسبوعا ثم يصلي خلف المقام ركعتين ثم يمضي لحاجته وما يبعث إليه. He said anytime that there is an angel that's sent down from the skies to fulfill the need of a human being, like you make dua and angels come to help you, the angel is now coming to this earth to help someone. He's going to come first to this place. He's like, Ya Allah, I got to go see the Kaaba. Because they have their own Kaaba, which is Bayt al-Ma'mur. But they don't got this Kaaba right here. And so they come over here, he comes over here, the angel comes down and does wudu. And then after, it's over here, it says like, meaning, like it bathes itself with water under the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then it comes in the state of ihram. And then it does tawaf of the Kaaba. You know how long it does tawaf of the Kaaba for? Because he does tawaf of the Kaaba for 1 entire week. And after the tawaf of the Kaaba for 1 entire week, it prays 2 rakats behind Maqam Ibrahim, and then it goes to fulfill the need that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him for. And then the next paragraph, and we'll conclude with this, وَكُلُّ نَبِيِّ مِنَ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ عَلَيْهِمْ السَّلَامِ إِذَا كَذَّبَهُ قَوْمُ خَرَجَ مِنْ بَيْنِ أَظْهُرِهِمْ إِلَى مَكَّةِ. Every time a prophet was denied and rejected by his people, the prophet would come to Mecca. وَمَا مِن نَبِيٍّ هَرَبَ مِنْ أُمَّتِهِ إِلَىٰ أَرَبَ إِلَى مَكَّةِ. No prophet ran away from his people once Allah told him to leave, except for they came to Mecca. And then he says, فَعَبُدَ اللَّهَ تَعَالَى بِهَا عِنْدَ الْكَعْبَةِ. They would just sit in front of the Kaaba and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know how we come for a week or 10 days, we worship Allah for a few hours, but the rest of the time walking around, praying salah in our rooms. These prophets no, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. They would just sit right here and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. حَتَّى أَتَاهُ الْيَقِينُ وَهُوَ الْمَوْتِ. Until they would just die sitting here worshiping Allah. Why? Because there was no human beings in those days. There was nothing happening. There's no civilization. There's nothing where they could eat or cook. He says, وَإِنَّ حَوْلَ الْكَعْبَةِ 300 نَبِيًّا. He says that around the Kaaba, there is the grave of 300 prophets. وَمَا بَيْنَ رُكْنَ الْيَمَانِ وَرُكْنَ الْأَسْوَدِ قَبْلَ 70 نَبِيًّا. He said between Rukn al-Yamani and Hajr al-Aswad, there's the grave of 70 prophets. كُلُّهُمْ قَتَلَهُمُ الْجُوعُ وَالْقَوْمُ. Every single one of them, hunger is what killed them. They died out of hunger, but they weren't ready to leave the Kaaba. They just wanted to sit right here, And he says, وَقَبْرُ إِسْمَعِيلُ وأمي هاجر صلى الله عليه وسلم في الحجر تحت الميزاب. You can even put the screen, that golden mizab that you see over there is in the middle of Hatim. It's called Hijr Ismail as well, which is a portion of the Kaaba that was not, built at the time of before the Prophet ﷺ, because they ran out of money. That portion is that's where the qabr, the grave of Ismail and his mother Hajar is. This is the most beautiful place on the planet. He says, and I'll say one more last thing. He says that وَمَا عَلَى وَجْهِ الْأَرْضِ بَلْدَةٌ يَرْفَعُ اللَّهُ فِي الْحَسَنَةِ الْوَاحِدَةِ غَيْرَ أَلْفِ حَسَنَةٍ مَكَّةٍ. There's no place on this earth that every good deed is multiplied to 1,000, except for Mecca. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought us here, and He says وَمَا عَلَى وَجْهِ الْأَرْضِ بُقْعَةٌ يَنْزِلُهَا كُلَّ يَوْمٍ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى 20 رَحْمَةٍ. Yo, check that out. There's not a single place on this earth that Allah descends 120 mercies to. 120 mercies are directed towards Mecca daily. 60 للطائفين, 60 for those who are doing tawaf. 40 للمصلين, 40 for those who are praying salah. و20 للناظرين إلى الكعبة, and 20 for those who are just looking at the Kaaba. So imagine one tawaf, that's 60, then you pray 2 rakats behind Maqam Ibrahim, that's 40, and then you look at the Kaaba, that's another 20. It comes another hadith that I remember, that the Prophet said that if the angels were to shake someone's hand, if the angels would be so proud of a person that they would come down to shake someone's hand, it would be for 3 people. They would come from the heavens to shake your hand. One is a person who's in the path of Allah. The second is the one who's obedient to his or her parents. And the third is the one who's doing tawaf. Bro, we're so lucky we're here. And we have to go back. That's true. But we better beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He accepts us to come back over and over and over again, and does not deprive us because of our shortcomings. We come here, we make mistakes, but Allah, you brought us here. You love us. That's why you brought us here. And we beg you that you bring us here over and over again. And one specific dua I'm making this trip is, oh Allah, all of those people who are here around the Kaaba and all over this that are in Mecca today and have come here that have non-Muslim relatives, oh Allah, give those non-Muslim relatives hidayah. You know how difficult it is for a person to bury a non-Muslim relative? No ghusl, no janazah, and he's Muslim or she's Muslim. Man, we sit here right now and make dua for them. That every single Muslim, anyone who's here today in our groups, all over the world that have come here, that have non-Muslim relatives, oh Allah, it is nothing for you. It's easy for you. Give them hidayah, so that they don't have to go through the process of burying them without ghusl and janazah. Ameen Rabbil Alameen.